Mark, Heart Midlothian at Tynecastle under the lights. What's your thoughts on the game?
Looking forward to it. Never been there. As a manager, heard a lot about the atmosphere. So looking forward to the game. Type of games you want to be involved in. Absolutely.
Dave, there's an interesting situation going on there in terms of what's happening in their dugout with Robbie Nielsen. Do you see that being a distraction in any way today?
No. All I know is that I've had Robbie with us at Brentford. He's a very talented manager. I think he's got a very big future in the game. Like him enormously. Top professional as a player. I watched the way he conducted his business, so very impressed with Robbie. I know, as I say, a very bright career ahead, I'm sure. Our only focus with Rangers tomorrow night, he'll deal with whatever he's going to deal with.
When you were at Brentford, people knew before the end of the season that you were leaving. The Hearts players will know that something's going on. How can that impact on a dressing room?
It doesn't. It's about your contact with the players or your relationship with the players, and I'm sure Robbie's got a very strong relationship. So, as I say, at the end of the day, the most important people are the players. You know, we do what we do in our capacity, in our role, but at the end of the day, it's about the players. It's an important game tomorrow night. I'm sure their focus will be equally as strong as ours.
Do you look at it in two ways? One, that it might impact them, and another way, they might want to step up their game. It could be.
Not at all. Without being rude, it doesn't matter to us. We go there and it doesn't affect our preparation. We go there and respect them. They're at home. They're a very good team. They're very well managed, as I said. But we've trained well again, and we're looking forward to what we know being exciting fixtures. So it's just about Rangers from our perspective.
It's only 3 points for a win, but when you look at the next 10 days, Hearts, Aberdeen and Hearts, will this be quite a significant period?
Every game's significant. Every game, as I say, you don't get 5
but you're
points.
Playing against the teams that are very close to you.
Of course you are, and the teams put runs together. You know, teams put runs together. Look, I always think about Leicester City putting runs together at the end of a season, etc. So it's about one game at a time, and every manager will say the same. So we're going to focus on a good game tomorrow night, a great atmosphere, and then I say once that's out of the way, then we'll look at Aberdeen, but it's just one game at a time for us.
Been injury type goals that have won the games for you in the last 2 games. When you look at playing Hearts and Aberdeen, do you want to take your chances earlier because they are, without being disrespectful to the other teams, they are being the better side?
No, you just take your chance when they come along. Whether you score in the first minute or the 91st minute, it's the same outcome. So of course, ideally, you start a game well, you apply the pressure, you get your rewards early, and you can build with the confidence from there. But that's an ideal scenario. But what you have to do is retain focus and concentration and do what you do well. And we'll be looking at that tomorrow night. We know they're a good opponent. We know they're at home. We know they're well organised. They have physicality about them. But we have our own strengths as well.
So there's no concern in your mind of the leaving it late, that there might be a game that it doesn't?
Not at all. Not at all. No, there's no concern whatsoever. We could turn around and look at the many chances we missed beforehand and put 2 or 3 of those away. It's a different outcome anyway.
Just to follow on from that, I mean, your team's been behind first in half the league games this season. I mean, is there going to come a point where you just can't make those?
Have we been ahead the other half?
Yes.
There you go.
But for a team like Rangers, you would expect not to.
All I hear is a negative side of it. From the positive side of it, I think we've won 5 out of the last 7. Is that right? I think we're unbeaten for 32 games at home. I think that's right. There's stats which don't appear very often in the paper for some reason. So from that point of view, we've been ahead in half the games. We've started games very well. We've dominated possession. Have we not been as clinical? Maybe. Absolutely right that we can improve all areas of the game. Everyone can improve. But we go into the game tomorrow night in good form and looking forward to a good encounter.
Do you accept there's room for improvement in that sense?
If there's a team in this world that's got no room for improvement, then there's something badly wrong. And that goes for any industry as well. Forget football, that goes for any industry. Yours included, I'm sure.
If there's no additions in January, Mark, is this squad good enough to be second?
Yes.
Is it good enough to be first?
No qualms about that?
No qualms about that at all. No qualms. We move in January if the right player or players become available. But the worst thing January is a really tough window. I'm sure most people will tell you that, because if you're panicking rather, you either spend too much or you get the wrong person in a knee-jerk reaction, and we have to get the right people to come in here to add value and quality to what we currently possess. So if the right person becomes available, then we'll move. Absolutely. We've lost 1 or 2 players for various reasons. So if the right person's there, we will move. But only if the right person's available.
But there's a chance that nobody could come in during.
Well, as I said, if the right person, do I go and get numbers for the sake of it? I go and get numbers if the right people are available. So if we can, and there's some really good players out there, but there's some good players out there on very, very high wages as well. So if the right people are available at the right price, we'll definitely move.
Does somebody have to go out before somebody comes in?
No. We've lost Nico to a long-term injury, for example. So there's one squad member straight away. So we've lost Nico, unfortunately, a player we were, really excited by the way he was progressing. There's no doubt we look forward to his return, but it won't be the next few weeks. So as I say, we've got a space there, absolutely.
If European football is the target for next campaign, is the January window not quite crucial to get players in to then bring them up?
It's important. Any window is important because it's your opportunity to make a change. Of course, I'm not disputing that fact at all, but you have to get the right players in. You can do more damage by getting the wrong person in at the wrong time. So if it is the right person who can fit into our team on and off the pitch, then we'll move.
What do you think of the chairman's remarks that perhaps you've not got enough out of the summer recruits compared to last year?
Listen to chairman's remarks. Absolutely, we talk and have our dialogue. But as I say, you only pick 11 players. So for any team, if a player's not playing, it means someone else is playing and doing well. So it works both ways.
Do you accept, though, that there's been a big difference?
I'm not going to get involved in that conversation, but thanks anyway.
Mark, how do you get more out of Joe Garner? Because there's a suggestion that you might need to change your system to get more out of him. Do you agree with that?
I'm not sure where that suggestion came from, but I'll discuss that one in a minute. But I think Joe's come in. How many games has Joe played or started for Rangers? And look at the sample size. And we showed, I should use a slide to a recent presentation where Andre Gray came in and scored 2 goals in 10 for Brentford. And Andre would be the first to say at the time that he wasn't in his best form, and had Scott Hogan been fit, Andre might not have played certain games. I think Andre then scored 5 in the next 10 and 4 in the next 10, and he scored 16 goals and he moved for 6, 7, 8 million, and he's now probably worth 25, 30 million pounds, Andre Gray. So as I say, Joe's only just started off his career here. People are too quick to judge, and he's come out of a different formation. Of course, how many games has he played? So the sample size, I'm disappointed at certain comments because the sample size is so small. Give a player a chance to settle in, understand how a team plays. But to judge him so quickly, I think is very short-sighted.
Do you think, look at maybe the next 10 games or the next 15 games, he gets a goal and it could just kick on then, like you were saying?
He scores 3 and 6 and people are still not happy with him. So as I say, he's doing well, he's adapting, he offers a different side to the game for us. Joe's his movement, his physicality, he's aerially strong in both boxes, good first touch. He's an experienced goal scorer with a bright future ahead of him here at Rangers. So delighted to get Joe Garner. But as I say, people need to give players time to settle into new surroundings. Sometimes players hit the ground running. Other times it takes a few games to work their way in. But delighted with Joe and got no doubts about Joe Garner whatsoever.
Well, you were talking about positives. Joe Dodu comes on, scores 2 goals. Do you now have a big decision to make midweek because of the impact?
Again, I was told previously that Joe Dodu hadn't worked. There was another failed signing apparently, and now the same people are writing that magnificent Joe Dodu. You know, they're too short-sighted. Their comments change too quickly. You have to give players time to settle. Same as any industry at all. And I was delighted for Joe Dodu. He came on. He did what we know he can do. He trains so well every day. It's nice to have a problem, that type of problem, for sure.
So is there still a big decision? Have you decided yourself?
I've made my decision.
Josh Windass recovered from the weekend.
We hope so. Him and Clint were out this morning. We'll see how they go on. We don't honestly know. It's going to be a tight one of them. Fingers crossed.
Windass was hamstring, is that correct?
Yeah, he slipped on the side of the Astro pitch there, and it was unfortunate he came off at half time. So we'll see how he is tomorrow.
Jordan Rossiter, what's the current situation?
He won't be ready for tomorrow, but he's working, so he'll come back as and when. But again, with all the young players, as with Josh Windass, if it was a cup final tomorrow, I could turn around and say to you, he'll definitely play at the end of the season. But when it's a long season ahead, they're young players, so their welfare will always be of paramount importance.
Rossiter's situation, is his injury worse than you first thought?
No, he's got a grade 1 calf strain, but you've got to look after it. And as I say, our question is, why did it happen? He was a day away from returning to full training with us, so we have to look into it and make sure these things don't recur, basically.
Just finally, to go back to the Robbie Nielsen situation, you touched on this at the AGM unintentionally. We talked about the finances down south. I mean, what does it say about Scottish football where the manager of Hearts is potentially going to go to a League One club? What does it say about Scottish football in general?
I didn't touch on it unintentionally. I touched on it very intentionally, because the financial disparity is going to get ever wider. I keep hearing people saying to me, it won't last. Rest assured, I think in my opinion, it's just started. It's just started. The money's going to get ever bigger. You know, the deals that go ahead and the territories involved in football, it will only ever get bigger right now. So be aware of that. The disparity is getting wider. I actually mentioned that League One clubs down south can outbid Rangers for players, 7 figures plus for players. So we have to be aware of that and be aware of that gap. But your suggestion that Robbie's moving for money, we've no idea. I think it's dangerous to form an opinion. Robbie's a very smart individual, very intelligent guy, and a very professional manager, coach. So I think he'll make the right reasons for himself, for his career, and for his family, whatever he decides to do.
I mean, more the resources rather than personal.
It's the resources,
gains.
but we have to recognise it. You can't hide behind, past glories or past situations. The fact of the matter is, you have League One clubs and Championship clubs down south who have far more financial power at this moment than most Scottish clubs have, and we have to accept it. We have to recognise it. The obvious thing is to find a solution to it. I'm not saying it's easy.